Yay, it's Friday. Yay, it's Friday. Are you as excited as I am, Ron? It's Friday. You don't ever. Yes. It's always Monday morning, dude. You know that? I've talked about this before on the show. Chef Patrick Mosher is the Food Biz Pro. It is Friday, July, 19th already? Damn, the year's more than half over. People say, how do you keep your head up? My head was not up about an hour ago. Matter of fact, 10 minutes ago. It's been a fairly stressful week around here in good and bad ways, but we're getting through it. Yesterday we had the AC went down, the power downstairs went out, which meant we lost our internet. So Ron was streaming the audio to iHeartRadio for Spoony, the entire Spoony channel, and our sister channel Mojo 50 to iHeart through his iPhone. It was an interesting day, and it went down right in the middle of a show, Dr. Brown's The Gut Check Project, and it was fun. So there's about 2 minutes of the Facebook video missing. The other half is it kind of went right in the middle of the show. So 30 minutes got recorded. They went off the air for a few minutes. We recorded the rest of it, and we'll splice together, and we'll make it look fun anyway. The best part was where it froze because it just kept kind of trying to reload on the Facebook page. Dr. Brown, if you ever seen him, he's a big kind of he's a big masculine man's man, right? And he's a nice guy. So he he's like this with his hands in the air. If you're watching on Facebook, you can see what I'm doing. If not, basically I'm like angry with my fists in the air, and because he's very passionate about what he's talking about, but it looks like he's angry because all of a sudden the service went down. So anyway, we're back up and running today, but let's see, half the building still has no AC. Luckily we have it in the studios here, but I'll tell you what, we are sweating bullets. It's a warm one right here in Dallas Fort Worth. We are here in lovely Haltom City, overlooking the Mojo River, and well, kind of downtown Fort Worth. We say it's downtown Fort Worth. Yeah, I haven't done a show since Monday. It was weird not doing shows in the middle of the week again. We've not had some board operators, so I've been producing shows instead of talking on shows, and we had what's called a happy accident. So our studios, sometimes we have remote live shows which we need to manage from in studio, and we had two that conflicted. So as soon as my show was over on Wednesday. There's a gentleman who calls in every Wednesday, records his show for the weekend, and producer Ron does that for us. Well, they're going to do it in my studio after my show was over. Well, we had a lot of things go on, and we're missing some staff. We had some other crises to deal with. And so I decided, okay, I'm not going to do a show, which was good because they got their times mixed up. So his first caller dialed in an hour early, which would have been right in the middle of my show, and there was no way for me to not have that interfere with the live show. So, sorry if you missed me. I'm sorry. I missed me too. I missed hearing myself talk for 2 hours about food, fun, and the frivolity of the weekend that is called July. Anyway, in case you didn't know, today is National Daiquiri Day. Now, I don't typically drink daiquiris, but if you do, I'm sure there are some specials out there. I wonder if there's anything for National Daiquiri Day. National Daiquiri Day specials. Yes, okay. Don't give me a hard time, people. I'm a very slow typist. Daiquiri Day specials. All right. And, deals of the day, Groupon. Let's see. Now we don't get a Groupon. By the way, business lesson number 1. Okay. We'll talk about the daiquiris in a minute. We'll finish the daiquiris. I want to talk about Groupon, though. The worst discount service ever to pigeonhole you into selling your product at a price that you don't make any profit. It has closed more restaurants than anything else I know besides the market crash of 2008. Terrible. All right, let's see. Nothing. Wow, 2019. Nothing at all. Wow, stingy people. Nothing. Not even Long John. So not even like Red Lobster has a daiquiri special today. Nothing. Okay, well, anyway, it's National Daiquiri Day. I don't know if you drink daiquiris or not. My mother used to order virgin daiquiris for me when I was a child. We would go to Red Lobster probably every year or two. Not a child. I was a teenager. We had moved to Arizona by then, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I could get a daiquiri. I could look like an adult at the table. I was the skinniest, scrawniest kid ever. There's no way I looked like an adult at the table. And I think the whipped cream on top kind of threw people off the scent that it might actually be real. Anyway, the daiquiri, it's a family of cocktails, if you don't know, that's based on rum, citrus juice, which is typically lime, and then sugar. Now, there's the way that they're made here in the United States. They're typically blended, so it's a frozen drink. But it started back in the late 1800s, I think around 1898. There were men in the off the coast of Cuba that were blasting away in the mines during the Spanish-American War. And one American engineer, Jennings Cox, I think was his last name, he was supervising the operation. And they were in a village named Daiquiri. And after work every day, he and his employees would go to the Venus Bar. Then one day, Cox mixed up Bacardi, lime, and sugar in a tall glass of ice. He named the new beverage after the daiquiri vines, and the drink soon became a staple in Havana. Eventually, someone added shaved ice, and sometimes lemons or both lemons and limes were used. And then in 1909, Admiral Lucius W. Johnson, U.S. Naval Medical Officer, tried Cox's drink and subsequently introduced it to the Army and Navy Club in Washington, D.C. The popularity of the daiquiri then increased over the next few decades. And obviously, Ernest Hemingway and John F. Kennedy, that was his favorite cocktail. Son of a run-rummer, by the way. Anyway, it's mostly served frozen in the United States, but a real daiquiri would be over ice. So I've never had one that way. I like them frozen, but look up your favorite recipe. There's no reason for me to put a 3-ingredient recipe on the air, or maybe 4, but whatever your fruit of choice is, that, some ice, some rum, a little bit of lime, lemon, a little bit of sugar in there, and you're good to go. All right, what else we got today? Oh, we're going to go back and talk about something, Groupon. So everybody loves Groupon, right? Everybody loves Groupon. Groupon is everybody knows what Groupon is. I don't have to tell you, but it's the bane of my existence as a restaurant consultant. I can't tell you how many times I've had to walk away from a job, and a job that was offered to me, because the owners were afraid to get off of Groupon or another discount site. What happens with that is you're devaluing your product, right? So business isn't good. So instead of putting money into marketing, or say business declines because of other restaurants come into the area and start competing with you, instead of just Pat's House of Burgers or Doc's House of Flapjacks, then next door now you have Matt's House of Flapjacks and Mike's House of Burgers. So as competition grows, either you up your game or you hold on to the market share by being consistent and marketing your product. To do that, you have to spend money or spend time, one or the other. Money's time, time is money. It all equals out the same way. But Groupon, it sounds brilliant. Yeah, get them hooked on your product with a discount rate. They'll come in, they'll buy a little shot, they'll love it, they'll come back every week. But it doesn't happen that way, folks. It doesn't. I cannot tell you how many. Deja Pietersma, she and her partner Kelly, they were going to do a show for a while. Their business, they're just restructuring everything right now, and they have an aesthetic spa that also has like aerial yoga. Kelly does very special types of healing. He uses Tibetan healing bowls and special type of acupressure and things like that. He's a kind of an adjunct healer for people that don't necessarily want to do the repeat type of service every time, like chiropractors or orthopedic surgeons, things like that. They also had the vibrating platforms that you do exercises on. I forgot what that's called, but high-frequency training platforms, I think. Well, they started this studio, and they kind of grew it really quickly. And when they grew it, they took on all this really high monthly lease rates, or basically down payments, monthly payments on all these mechanical items that they needed to run the shop. So in order to increase the volume quickly, they went to Groupon. The problem is Groupon discounts their rate by like 30%. Okay, well, their margin is only 40%, say, because by the time they pay the overhead for the studio, pay for the equipment, pay for the utilities, the fixed overhead, and the fluctuating overhead, then what happens? They make 5%, maybe 4%, maybe 0%. They don't make any money on it. If that were just a small percentage of your business, that's one thing. But when you're just starting out and that's how you attract the majority of your clients, that's a problem. Now you have a business model where everybody sees you as a discount center. Not that discount stores are bad. There's nothing wrong with buying things at a discount. But as a seller, a provider of services especially, when you discount your product, even if it's a physical product like food, if you discount a tangible or even a service product consistently over a long period of time, you rarely ever recover. You really don't. Grocery stores are a prime example of that. It's not that they don't recover, but it's this never-ending cycle of spiraling into lower and lower profit margins. The average average grocery store, I think, has about 3% margin after the entire year is said and done on their gross sales. So if you sold $30 million, right? Or, well, we'll say if you sold $100 million, you make $3 million pre-tax. I think they end up with 1.6% after taxes, 1.8%. So to push $100 million in groceries, and there are stores that do that. Central Market in Houston does $100 million in groceries. Now, granted, it's a different model, but there are stores that do $100 million a year, probably 18 to 20 million now. They do about $120 million a year. Could you imagine if on that you only made $4 million, less than $4 million, $3.2 million for the entire year? All that labor, all that staff, all that energy to make that much money, and then you have to cut it in half after taxes. Well, that particular store is a little bit different model because they're more of a gourmet retail store, like Whole Foods or Whole Paycheck, as we used to call it. And their margins are higher, but it's really, really difficult when people shop based on price only. It becomes really difficult. Grocery stores, they can't really get out of it. Every store carries the same product for the most part, unless it's proprietary to that store or it has their brand on it. But when you get outside of that and you have a retail product, people fall into a trap that they don't have a few things that are necessary to run a business. A, you need to have a unique selling point or perspective or product, right? The service that you have can be the same as everyone else's, but you have to make it seem special. You have to deliver the message in a way. Yeah, all right. So we're going to call this Preachy Patrick Friday, all right? Business 101. I haven't really talked all week, so these business questions, look, we have our struggles around here. This is a hard business to monetize, right? Advertising sales are not what they used to be. It's a different game nowadays. So we are not struggling with, but discovering new ways to monetize, increase revenue streams. And I'm trying to, right now, as a consultant, as your mentor, or some of you are my mentors, Tech Guru and some other people. If you're ready to start a business, don't put yourself into the discount game. Especially if your product is just as good or better than the other people out there. I don't want to say spin it to win it. You remember the spin doctors from the 80s and 90s? These people that took political statements or basically they could twist any type of statement to seem like it was a positive, right? It's like looking at statistics and nudging them in the direction that you need them to go. That's kind of marketing, right? It is. It's marketing 101. Make your product more attractive than the others. Whether that's by packaging, message, quality, it doesn't matter. But have a unique selling perspective, a selling point, a service product. The reason being, then you always have a way to justify to yourself and to your customers, your guests, your clients, consumers that come to your shop, why you don't discount. Because we're different. Because we're better. Because we're more unique. We're rare. The product we have is rare. No one else does this. It's a one of a kind. It makes a difference, folks. It breaks my heart to hear businesses say that they're closing because, well, we thought Groupon was a good idea. And I'm not knocking Groupon. It's a brilliant idea. Build a website that does nothing but aggregate discounted services and goods, and then tell people about it. And then rake, 10% off of that or more? It's awesome. It's brilliant. But it's a catch-22. If you have to, you don't have to. Because you're going to pay them money out of your pocket. You're going to pay to use the service, and you're going to pay them out of your profits that you would have on everything that you sell. And they're going to keep, it goes away either way. So why not build your unique brand? Build your product line. Build or craft a unique selling perspective that makes you different from everyone else, or at least gives you the authority in the industry, in your market sector, to be a representative of a product that people trust what you say. It's imperative. Part of the reason I'm here, right? The reason I started out on the radio was to build my image as the authority in the food business, which is where I came up. I don't know where the Food Biz Pro came with. I think Doc and I were talking about that on the air one time when he was at the Blaze. And he all of a sudden, he started calling me Celebrity Chef Patrick. I'm like, Celebrity Chef Patrick? He goes, yeah, you're on the air, aren't you? Celebrity, what does celebrity mean? I don't know. I mean, I'm not notorious. There's no notoriety with what I do. I mean, I'm an ass. If you've worked for me in a kitchen, you know that. But there's no, my career has not been mundane, but it's certainly not as notable as many of the big names out there, David Chang, Nobu, Morimoto, Thomas Keller, Bobby Flay. Oh! By the way, Jay Ducote, friend of ours here at the station. He's from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He's been on Food Network a bunch of times. He's competed, I believe, on Top Chef, a couple other programs. He's a culinary badass, and he's a great podcast weekly. He actually does a tailgating show, and he talks about tailgating food. It's awesome. And he kind of travels around with the LSU football team. I believe he may have played ball there a little bit. But anyway, he was on Bobby Flay last night, and if you watched Beat Bobby Flay, then you actually watched Jay Ducote beat Bobby Flay. And I'd go back and watch it. The episode was actually crawfish. So check it out. Really proud of him. Jay, congratulations. I sent him a text last night saying good job. And go support him. Follow him on Instagram. Follow him on Facebook. Follow him on wherever you can find him. It's Jay, last name Ducote. Jay Ducote. He's a big bear of a man, but super nice, genuine fellow, and a hell of a cook. So congratulations to him. All right. So don't fall into the trap. Don't discount your product or service. Come up with a unique product, unique perspective to sell it from, and then what we call an enticing offer. Those three things. An enticing offer. What is an enticing offer? It's something they can't refuse. An offer they can't refuse. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But we're going to talk about the top 10 tips in the third segment of the day. Yes, in the third one. Yeah, I know. That's the meat of the matter, right? That's the main course, the steak on the plate, baby. This is just the soup and salad. It's not even that. It's the appetizer course. It's course one, right? So we'll get back to that in a little bit, but it's summertime. And Doc and I used to joke about this, and I've had conversation on Wind Down Wednesday with Laura Brown of Ramo de Olivo. She does our Wind Down Wednesday segment, and we always talk, what are you drinking? And we kind of made some jokes about canned wine. Well, I'm telling you, they're here to stay. And I don't know why, but they are. And there are a lot of them out there. A lot. So I have a list here of the 17 best canned wines for this summer. And you say, what do I need canned wine for? Well, if you want wine and you're going on a hike, a picnic, going boating, going to the beach, well, the beach, you can't have glass. On a boat, you shouldn't have glass. If you're hiking, it's extra weight because it's in a glass bottle. So it's actually easier to carry. And when you get ready to carry the trash out, you can crush the cans, put them back in your backpack instead of a plastic baggie, and they're easy to transport out and very light. Anyway, canned wines. I thought they were kind of a joke I was thinking, okay, so E&J Gallo came up and they're going to do basically a type of rosé in a can. Well, no, there's some great ones out there. So we're going to just go right down the list. This is kind of cool. So marketing is everything. Talked about this. Matt and I do the Beer for Breakfast segment, Beer for Breakfast Fridays. It's now Beer for Brunch because it's a later segment over on the Mojo 50. And, we talk about how does he choose the beer that we try on every Friday. And what he does, he buys what he normally takes to the house for the weekend on his way home on Thursday. And then he looks down the row, down the beer cooler fronts, and through the doors, and he says, okay, what strikes my eye? What catches my eye? What is really cool to look at? Because I'll tell you what, most people buy by sight. Almost not everything's impulse buy, but when it comes to packaging, it's very important. So we're going to write down, this is called Rosé for Days. And it's a really cool pink rosé. What's funny is it's not a rosé at all. It's actually a beer. It's technically a beer, but it's beautiful. It's a rosé style ale with hibiscus and prickly pear. It's to your favorite alcoholic drinks and one that says so. It's basically like a rosé and a beer. I put this list up on Spoony Radio's Facebook page. It's from delish.com. So if you want to go to the page and check it out, but that one's called Rosé for Days. Good name, by the way. The next one is called Beach Juice Rosé. Not beet juice, not Beetlejuice, but beach juice. Is it too early to name beach juice our rosé of summer? Yeah, it's a little hokey, but it has the perfect blend of strawberries, cranberries, and watermelons, and is so Instagrammable. Well, I don't know about that, but I'll have to try it now. Let's see. It doesn't say what the price is on any of these. See if I can find one that has a price on them. Next one is Champs. SHAMPS. Number 3. It says avoid the risk of popping bottles. Yeah, you don't want to just don't take bottles to the beach or anything like that. With Champs, this is launching in May 2019, so it's got to be on the market now. The sparkling wine cans boast a 5% average alcohol by volume and just 110 calories. That's pretty good. That's a 12-ounce can. Yeah, 12-ounce can. That's not bad. 9. So it's a little 9 calories per ounce. I could do that. Next is Cupcake Vineyards, and they have a lot of bottled wines as well. And it's okay. It's a good middle of the road wine. They finally created cans for their Sauvignon Blanc and Rosé for poolside or summer barbecue sipping. The best part is the beautiful little cans. No, I don't think so. They just say they're pretty plain. They're filled with 350 milliliters, which is 12 ounces, which is exactly half of Cupcake's standard bottles. Oh, they're big bottles then. That's cool. So I guess okay. So they're not. Yeah, take 2 of those. Got a whole bottle of wine, and those go for $6 a can. That's not bad. So $12 a bottle. It's about right. Number 5, Yes Way Rosé. It's cute, it's pink, and it's rosé. What more could you ask for in a canned wine? Yes Way Rosé pairs well with seafood, salad, and barbecue. I've never had Okay, now I got to try this. Rosé with barbecue. And we're not talking, some sort of a blush Chablis, right? No. Or one of the 1970s versions of a rosé. But I'm going to have to try this. I've seen this several times in the store, and I bought one for a show I did in the past, and that particular can, I had 4 different canned wines to taste. That one disappeared. I don't know where it went. It was at a different channel, but let's go to the next one. We got about, a few seconds left here. Lila, Lila from drizzly.com. Lila wines come in several varieties. They have rosé, Pinot Grigio, and they also have a sparkling peach and citrus balanced can. Huh. That sounds good. I love peach. Peach wine is good stuff. As a matter of fact, I think it was today or tomorrow. Tomorrow is National Strawberry and Rhubarb Wine Day. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But all right, we've got 30 seconds. I'll go through the rest of the list. We're already halfway through. This is Chef Patrick Mosher, the Food Biz Pro. I am sorry I've left you hanging for the last few days, but I'm back. It's okay. Have a cupcake or a glass of cupcake wine in a can. All right. Yeah, I don't want to go through these yet. Underwood is the next one. We'll talk about that in a minute. Stay tuned, folks. I'll be back in 2 minutes. So it's Friday. We'll be back in a few minutes. Grab yourself a beer if you're off work. If not, stay tuned. Have one. Yeah, pretend you're having one with me. We'll be right back.
Follow Chef Patrick Mosher on Twitter @FoodBizPro.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
800-218-6473. 800-218-6473. 800-218-6473. That's 800-218-6473.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-452-1075. 800-452-1075. That's 800-452-1075.
And I'm back, folks. Yep, I'm back. I know I had 3 days off in the middle of the week. What the hell's wrong with me? It's usually like a Monday or a Friday that I take off, but thanks for tuning in. Chef Patrick Mosher here on Spoony Radio. Thanks. Well, I guess we're already up to the soup and salad course today. I'm not sure what it'll be, but producer Jeff just told me to call him when I'm off the air. I called him during the break, but apparently he's too busy to answer, so I'll call him back after. But let's go through some of the comments here before we go through the second half of the best of canned wines for summer list that we have. Let's see. Richard Brandt, better known as Tech Group, present. Welcome back, Richard. Travis Watkins, you've been producing shows? Yikes. Yeah, I'm more frightened than anyone about producing shows for our channel and the other channel, or, whatever else I have to do around here. I'm really bad at spilling liquids into electronics, which is probably why I ended up in a kitchen, because there's not much you can damage in a kitchen if you spill water on it. So, except printers. I've killed a few printers. Dustin Caudle says, we was starting to get worried there was no show, and today, again today, I think he meant to say. Well, I thought, we had some things happen this morning. It would have been really easy not to do the show, but it's not fair it's not fair to me. Put a lot of time, effort, and energy and money into building Spoony and being the curator and the programming director and the primary show host. So, I have to give the listeners content. So respect for the listeners as well. And look, we have Cheryl Heisler's calling in. She's a badass, right? She does our mixed metaphors of, what are we drinking on this weekend? She calls in at the end of every Friday segment, and she creates a custom cocktail for us, and we talk about it, make it over the weekend, and drink it. That's what you should do. Today's a really good one, too, and it's really hot up in Chicago, so I'm sure she'll have something nice and refreshing for us all. I need to finish out the Spoony bar, right? So I'm not sure where that would go, but, I have $50 billion now, thanks to Richard Brandt. That's worth about a nickel. But, that would probably furnish the bar, at least buy a straw. I have to tell you, I was in Austin at a place that had the straws that I brought back from the National Restaurant Association show. Yeah, we went to dinner, and it's called Hay Straw, HAY. STRAWS, hay straw, or hay straw, not hay straws. But they're made from just the stalk of a specific, strain of hay. It was awesome to see them in use on the bar. Fantastic. Anyway, really proud of the young men that founded that company and their rapid growth. It's cool to see that in a place like Austin. Of course, Austin's pretty hip, way hipper than I am, so that's why I'm stuck in Dallas-Fort Worth. All right, let's see. Rack Attack. Oh, hey, Brandon, what's up? Hey. Brandon, he's going to be coming on the air next Tuesday, I believe. We're going to have a little chat about that off the air after this, but, he's launching his show. He's launching a new show about craft barbecue and, well, just about everything barbecue you could ask. It's going to be a really fun one, so stay tuned. That's Brandon Anderson of Rack Attack Barbecue. Glad you're listening, buddy. Let's see. Underwood. Oh, Travis Watkins says, Underwood Wine has been around a while. I've had some of theirs, and it's pretty good. Yeah, it's not bad. Let's see, Richard Brown. Hello, Marie. We got, there's my comment. I don't want to comment on my comment. I don't need to do that. Oh, Richard, what was the list I didn't finish on Monday? You know what? I'll have to look at that because I was just asking myself the same question. And it was the top three. It was the top three. Wasn't top three restaurants. One top three. Oh, it was the richest chefs, right? So I'll go back. I already know. I know the top three by heart, actually. And I'll go back through that really quickly. I'll go through the whole list, the top 10. Stephen Ells, that's right. Can't miss the drinking weekend plans. And yeah, neither can I, because I'll tell you, it's always Monday morning, right? So along with that brilliant product line you come up with and the non-gimmicky yet ingenious marketing plan that you put in place, and the compelling pitch that you have to make it an irresistible product, have a sense of humor, and just remember, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, things can go wrong, and the big doo-doo can hit the fan. So every time that happens, just pretend it's Monday morning. You expected it to happen, and deal with it, right? It's interesting how crisis either brings out the best or worst in people. And sometimes it momentarily brings out the worst and then turns into the best. But, if it's not life or death, you've done no harm, then don't sweat it. And if you're in this industry and you're freaking out every Friday night, every Saturday night, and then going back on Monday mornings and freaking out again, or brunch on Sundays and Saturdays, the ticket's going off, which is the most aggravating thing, but it's music to my ears, but it's frustration at the same time when I'm working the line, because it's the sound of money and pain at the same time, especially on a Friday night. It just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. But you know what? Take a breath, get a glass of water, settle in for the night, grind it out, and remember, you're only making food. And I say that not because food isn't the most important substance you put in your body, besides water, but it's just food. We're not brain scientists, brain surgeons, I think, or rocket scientists. We don't. I don't. I work in the industry. I don't design these cans. I don't have to figure out how that roll top works. I know, but I didn't have to design it. I didn't engineer it. I just drink from it when my shift is done. If you're in the industry, remember that we put a lot of the pressure that we feel is internal, not external, right? We don't want to disappoint not just the guest, not just the servers that we're helping serve the guests, not just your chef, and not the GM, and not your fellow coworkers. It's you, because you hold yourself to a really high standard. That's why we choose the service industry or the hospitality industry, right? So don't be too hard on yourself. Let's go back. We'll finish that list. Let's finish the wine first. And Underwood. So Underwood came in at number 7. They have Underwood has a few. This one is actually rosé. Rosé is like the hottest thing now. For a long time, it was the non-wine drinkers' wine, right? Rosé. Just have a glass of rosé. You'll like it, because it was. It wasn't a real. I mean, it was rosé, but not by European standards, not really. All right, so Underwood is actually it's a Portland-based. It's the Portland-based Union Wine Company, right? And they have some of the coolest packaging, I think. So it's very cool. It's the cans are silver. They all have a like a rectangular block style label that's there. It's cool. I love the way that they do the cans, and the way that the Underwood logo is like it's in 3 rows, which is funny because there are 9 letters. So it's UND, next row ERW, bottom row OOD, Underwood. Wood. Yeah, it's just funny. It's good. It's good marketing. So they actually have a very good rosé, by the way. It's pretty good. Not too dry, not too sweet. Next one is Babe, coming in at number 8, the best bubbly rosé, and they actually have White Girl rosé in bottles, and so they did the Babe rosé with bubbles. Interesting. They come in 4-packs. Nah, and they look like tiny cans. I need something bigger. Nomatica comes in at number 9 with they win the award for prettiest can. So it's funny, when I first looked at it, I thought that was cannabis for a minute. I mean, not because I'm in the medical cannabis industry or anything. It just, when I looked, it's the right color, and some of the leaves are, anyway. Sorry about that. But Nomatica, you can buy those at drizzly.com. Oregon knows a thing or two about booze. They have some of the best wineries, but they also have some of the best breweries up there as well. Nomatica cans, including this Oregon White blend, are way chicer. I had to figure out how to say that word. I've never seen the word chicer before. Than any beer bottle. Really? I don't know about that. You know, the cool thing about a beer bottle is when they bring you a bottle of beer at the bar, right? You're sitting at the bar, you're sitting at a table. Sir, would you like a cold glass? And you say, no, it comes in a cold glass. It's all right. Just hand me the bottle. I never got that. Take a beer from an ice cold bottle, put it in another cold bottle with a wider mouth on it, a glass, and then throw the other bottle in the garbage and never use it for anything but a transport vessel. It doesn't make any sense. It's called a mouth of the bottle, so you can pour stuff out of it into your mouth. Okay? Do a little mouth-to-mouth resuscitation when you're too hot in the summertime. Grab yourself a beer, drink right out of the bottle. It's good. It's okay. It won't hurt you. Plus, if you spill, you don't tip the whole glass over. Just whatever pours out the mouth for a few seconds before you pick it up. Trust me, I'm clumsy. I get it. All right, number 10, coming in at Best White is Dark Horse. Dark Horse is, they're Modesto, California based, I believe. And, they're modestly priced. They won't break the bank. And their canned lineup includes a solid, easy-to-drink Pinot Grigio. Pinot Grigio. Interesting. All right. Number 11, best flavored wine, Pampelone. Pampalone's rosé lime. That sounds good. Is like mixing your favorite rosé with your favorite La Croix. I don't have a favorite La Croix. They have a funny aftertaste to them, which is interesting because I like drinks that have a very subtle carbonated water. It's basically you're tasting the carbonation in the water, but that subtle fruit flavor, just a hint. But La Croix doesn't do it for me for some reason. Maybe because I drink too much, Orangina when I lived in Europe. Basically the carbonated orange soda from Italy. All right, number 12 comes in. The best summer wine is Oceans Away. It's otherwise called the Need It to Feel Like Summer Now. It's in the Need It to Feel Like Summer. Need It to Feel Like Summer Now category. Oceans Away sparkling pineapple wine is a year-round winner. I didn't write the copy, folks. I'm just reading it. I could go to the the breathy bourbon voice if you want. Number 13 was the best deal. It's Pop and Fizz Sparkling House. Cans of Pop and Fizz sparkling wine start as low as $3.99. It smells like white flowers, candied ginger, and toffee, which sound pretty lovely if you ask me. Okay, whoever wrote that copy, no. It's not going to do it for me. You know why? Because it doesn't have to be manly to taste good. That's what you say right there, because it's kind of a girly-looking can. Nothing. That's not stereotyping. It is. It's a feminine-looking can. And you talk about, it smells like white flower. Okay, what the hell do white flowers? I think they meant wildflowers. What does a white flower smell like? Jasmine? That's a specific white flower. I'm being a little nitpicky right now, but as a former copywriter, that's not great copy. All right, so that was the top 13. I posted the list on Spoony Radio's Facebook page. Check it out. I think there's another post up there. There might. Oh yeah, it is. No, I didn't do National Daiquiri Day. We got one more on the list. We got two more on the list. Oh, well, I'll talk about Trey Chapman in a minute. Number 14, best for a group is got to go back to the voice. Sunnyside. Most canned wines come in individual cans or packs of 4, but you can buy Sunnyside Sauvignon Blancs in 6-packs. That's right. That's what a man wants, a 6-pack. Yeah, it's kind of pastelish. That's an odd can. You know, you see a logo. Trying to think which. It's So it's a surf brand from the 80s. I'm trying to think of the brand. But the logo is the sun setting on the horizon, right? On the ocean. So you've got the dark orange circle of the sun, and then the light reflection off of the water. So you've got that kind of that opposite, where basically, and then the skyline and the and the water are reverse colors as well. So you've got a pink sun going into the water, and then you've got a blue background, which is the sky, and then reverse where it hits the skyline or the horizon. So the other half of the sun now, which is the reflection off the water, is a shimmering blue, which has got streaks across it like waves, and then the surrounding water is pink, the color of the sun. Okay, it's good actually. I think it mimics that other label. I think that they have a lawsuit here. I'm just saying. All right, number 15 is Cutwater. This is the best cocktail, and they have I've had this before. They have a grapefruit Paloma cocktail. Don't have to say grapefruit there. It's Paloma, right? It's good. It's basically tequila and grapefruit. Sorry, somebody's calling in. Can't take a call right now. I'm on the air. Why don't you listen? You know what? I should have answered and said, "Hey, Chef Patrick, Spoony Radio. Are you listening?" I'm going to do that every time somebody calls during the show from now on. Or just ignore my watch and phone. Oh, gosh, we get two more. 17. Okay. Number 16, best holiday pick, Sophia. Sophia, they have it's a very Italian-looking label. I think they've done, did they do box wine? I don't remember, but I think they did. But this is Francis Ford Coppola's Sophia Mini. And it has a single serving of Sophia Blanc de Blanc. Ooh. So that's like a white wine made from a white grape. Good stuff. It's a juicy pear, kind of summer melon and honeysuckle notes. Make for a light, fresh sip. So juicy pear. Okay, that's good. So we're not talking Anjou pear. We're talking Bartlett pear. Summer melon. Well, who doesn't like good melons in summer? And honeysuckle notes. So that, to me, if you've never had honeysuckle, then you might not know what that, but it's got, man, how do you explain? It's almost a musky, sweet smell. You know, they've got big, what's the shape of I don't even know how to describe the shape of the flower, right? But, so there's two ways to get the nectar out of there. When I was a kid in upstate New York, literally, these honeysuckles grew wild. There was a big flat field next to it, a small apple orchard, and it was a very small sloping hill behind our woodshed that went behind the barn down. It was an old pasture that sloped upwards, and all along those back of the buildings where it had enough shade, adequate shade, then honeysuckle would grow. And when you walked out there before they were ready to pick, I mean, it was this kind of clingy, sweet, musky flavor. And I don't mean like musk cologne. I mean, it was just it was strong, but not still sweet. It was still sweet. It's almost like jasmine, right? But not quite as potent as jasmine, and a little richer, a little earthier. But man, so there's two ways when you pull the pestils out of the center of the flower, the little, you know, the stems that grow out of the middle, right? You pull those out, and there's usually a drop of the nectar at the bottom, but at the tip of them, at least in New York for honeysuckle, there's a little bulb, and you can bite that bulb off, and it has a little bit of the nectar, and it's really good. I forgot all about honeysuckle. All right, I need to put that on a menu here. Honeysuckle. Oh, and I have a kitchen fail to share with you all today. Yep. I have a kitchen fail. I tried to cook in our kitchen. We don't have a kitchen. I screwed it up. Anyway, number 16 was Sophia. Their Blanc de Blanc wine from Francis Ford Coppola. And number 17, let's see. Delish, eat like every day's the weekend. Oh, Delish. That's the website it came from. Yeah, so Delish came in at number 17. All right. That's a good tagline. Eat like every day's the weekend. Huh. I'd prefer, well, what I always say is everything in moderation as frequently as possible, right? All right, so let's go back. I want to talk about the richest chefs in the world, right? I want to finish up that list. We have about 10 minutes left in the segment. The two richest chefs. All right. And So these lists, because they're not necessarily right up to date. So this is the list I used. Okay, we'll go through this one. So we came in, I believe, Marco Pure White was the first one. Actually, Anna Quintzoses, worth $9 million. She's in Miami. See, this can't be right. This has got to be the wrong year. This is doesn't even give a year. Let's go back to the other one. All right, so the top richest chefs in the world. All right, and I guess so. I guess the list changed. Okay, wow, they've already updated. So number 10, we're gonna go through the list really quickly. At 10 minutes, one per chef. Number 10 is Ana Quintzoses, $9 millones. I don't know how to say million in Spanish, so I just made that up. She's the first chef to grace. She's what? She's the first chef to grace the list. Number 10. Okay, I get it. I was going to say you have 9 other chefs right behind her. But she's one of the richest and most influential professionals in the business. So they had to put her at number 10. But $9 million is a lot. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of greenbacks. Apart from being a highly successful chef, Anna is prominently known for her role in The Real Housewives of Miami. That showed on. Yeah, I don't need to know where that was. She was on 2011 and 2012. I need to find out what year this was. This doesn't seem right. I think it's wrong. All right, number 9, Paula Deen comes in at $14 million. She's a very interesting person. I've met her in person. And she got her start when her husband left her and her two boys, and she didn't know what to do. She had no career, she had no education, so she started baking pies, and she had her sons walk around and help sell them as well, and that's how she supported them. And she was born in Albany, Georgia, I think, and so this is something that she and I share in common. She's been plagued by panic attacks and agoraphobia. I didn't realize she doesn't still have them, but it says plagued by panic attacks and agoraphobia in her 20s. She found that cooking for her family was a good way to pass the time, as she couldn't leave the house often. Well, that wasn't the only reason, but eventually she started her own catering business named The Big Lady, which soon outgrew her small kitchen, and she opened her first restaurant. It's Lady and Sons, in downtown Savannah back in like the mid-90s. She's a pretty phenomenal business person. She's had 15 cookbooks. She's got, I don't know how many restaurants, 7, 8, 10. And her net worth is just under $14 million, which is not bad at all considering she once had just $200 to her name. And let's see. Marco Pure White, yes, the controversial chef out of England. He moved to London at 16. He had $15 in his pocket, no job, worked at the best French restaurant there. He was, in that era, the mid-'80s, the first and youngest chef to get 3 Michelin stars, which was unheard of. He was 33 years old. He's since left the restaurant industry as a chef. He's also denounced the Michelin guide, and he's tried to give the stars back, but you can't really take them back because they don't actually physically give you stars. They just list you in the book. It's interesting, though. Listen to the people that grew up under his tutelage, right? As he gained more and more experience, he started coaching other promising chefs, and some of his proteges eventually reached fame and stardom. Here's a small list. Mario Batali, Gordon Ramsay, Shannon Bennett, Curtis Stone. He's got others in there too, 3 or 4. But he retired in 1999, and he even returned all of his Michelin stars. I think he had 6 at the time. Anyway, he's pretty interesting guy. He's been on all sorts of shows: Hell's Kitchen, Chopping Block, MasterChef Australia. All right, Charlie Ayers, $45 million. You ever heard that name before, Charlie Ayers? Well, you should know him. He's done a pretty phenomenal. He used to be the chef at Google, right? I think when he left there in 2006, he was doing 4,000 daily meals in 10 cafes across the Mountain View campus there. That's crazy. He started his career at Hilton Hotels in New Jersey, eventually left the position to he went to culinary school in Providence, Rhode Island, which is the famous or infamous Johnson & Wales. I think it's one of the best schools in the country. He graduated in 90. He went to all sorts of restaurants in Boston and Providence. And then when he moved to California, he really managed to blossom, and that guy did really well. So he opened his first restaurant on 20th January 2009 in a shopping center of Palo Alto, California. His current net worth is $45 million. That's a lot of money. All right, David Chang. David Chang, the badass. I've told you about him. He grew up in the United States, but don't let that fool you. He's got a very strong understanding of not just Japanese, but all sorts of Asian cuisines. He opened, what was it, Momofuku, right? And that's the name of the restaurant group as well. But Momofuku got 2 Michelin stars in 2009 in Manhattan. He owns Milk Bar, which is an amazing dessert place as well. And man, he's never lost the star since '09. That's crazy. So for 10 years, he's held 2 Michelin stars at the same restaurant. So his net worth right now, $60 million. $60 million. So he's also, he's got a production company. And if you've ever seen, what is it called? Oh, Ugly Delicious is the name of a show on Netflix. I think they just had the first season just ended and just got picked up for a second season. So, so 2018, he came out with Ugly Delicious. You should check it out. He's a really interesting guy, and he's definitely one of the influencers in the culinary world. And he's fairly young. He was born in the, I don't want to say mid-60s. To his Korean parents in Georgia, or Virginia, rather. All right, so Emeril Lagasse, yep, the chef that never wanted to come out of the kitchen, who became a huge TV star, probably in his era on television, was the biggest star on TV. As a matter of fact, I was at the Aspen Food and Wine Festival, and as the chef of a restaurant there, and we hosted. Well, Nobu was presenting, and working at his restaurant, I got to go to a bunch of the exhibitions, and then also to see a lot of the chefs speak. So they put up these temporary partitions in this big banquet hall, or these big halls, and they're not thick, right? And Emeril was on the other side, and who was it? Maybe Nancy Silverton that was speaking, but anyway, she'd stop speaking on occasion because he was so loud, boisterous, and his big bam all the time that she just had to give it up. And let him speak, and we all just kind of laughed and chuckled and appreciated her sense of humor. But he started out, wow, he's way back in the 70s. He graduated from Johnson & Wales. He was executive chef at Dunphy's and Hyannis Resort. Let's see. Oh, in 2003, he won the National Best Recipe Award for his turkey and hot sausage chili recipe. He also appeared in countless TV shows. He was one of the very first Food Network stars, by the way. That's the Emeril, as the original Emeril's Kitchen. It was awesome. And he got really famous when he worked for the Brennan family at not Brennan's, but what do you call it, down in New Orleans? Anyway, we'll think of it in a minute. All I can tell you is you have to wear a jacket to go there. Trust me, I know. Been there. Yeah, the Brennan family. What an iconic family. All right, Rachel Ray, 80 million. You all know who she is. She's had 15. She's from Glens Falls, New York. I was born in Glens Falls, New York. I didn't know that. I was born at Glens Falls Hospital. All right, Wolfgang Puck, 90 million. Man, Barbara Lazaroff, good thing you had her around because she whooped your butt into going in and telling your boss needed more money. Okay, that's the story I heard. I don't know if it's true. Please don't come kick my ass. Wolfgang Puck is one of the most outstanding, gentle, human fellows I've ever met. Class act. That smile you see is genuine, and he's a badass in the kitchen. That guy can cook anything. Spago. Spago's still around 30 plus years after it started. You have Shinwa, Chef Mako Tanaka, a buddy of mine that I'm actually working on a project in California with him right now. He became, over years, the chef at Spago under Wolfgang Puck, the executive chef. Mako did, with Nancy Silverton as the executive pastry chef there. And he moved on to Shinwa in Maine. But I'll tell you, what a great mentor to so many people in the industry. His net worth right now, 90 million. That's it. All right, Gordon Ramsay. Yeah, Gordon Ramsay, that man of millions, $190 million, right? So he actually he was a professional soccer player in his early life, but he liked cooking and decided it was a longer career. He actually went to North Oxfordshire Technical College, and he was sponsored by the Rotarians in order to study hotel management. Interesting. He actually started as a commis, which is basically the guy that scrubs the floors and toilets and brings stuff to everybody at the Roxton House Hotel, and he worked for a long time with Marco Pierre White. And there's some very cool videos of them like fishing in the river right there, right outside the restaurant. So anyway, Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares is one of my favorite shows ever, because I'll tell you, if you own a business and you're in debt and you're about to fail, the question to me is not what are you willing to do to keep your business afloat. It's what are you not willing to do, or what are you not willing to give up besides your family and your, are you willing to sell that car to survive another 6 months? Are you going to sell the house, move it to an apartment if you're cash, debt free on that? All right. Next one is Jamie Oliver comes in the top notch, $400 million. Now, there's a discrepancy in here, which I think actually Chef Nobu Matsuhisa falls in there around $200 million with the Nobu Hotel, all the Nobu restaurants, all the he's just a partner in with Robert De Niro and Drew Newport. But Jamie Oliver, $400 million. All right, crazy. And he's a young man. He's born in 1975. Damn, I better get my act together because if I'm going to catch up, I better make something happen. So keep listening. We'll be right back for the main course, the entree. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss it. Listen or starve.
This is the only 24-hour take-anywhere platform dedicated to food and fun. We're Spoony.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. In New York, state parks keeping their pools open longer to help people deal with a hot spell that will affect a major portion of the country. Con Ed President Tim Cawley says the electrical system in New York will be tested this weekend.
We're ready for what the heat will bring. And as I said, we expect demands this weekend to rival all-time weekend peaks.
Cawley says repair crews will be on the job and ready to address any problems that may occur. Also at townhall.com, the acting Homeland Security Secretary is insisting conditions at the border are getting better despite an avalanche of migrants that has completely overwhelmed the system.
Oversight Committee Chairman Elijah Cummings.
You feel like you're doing a great job, right? Is that what you're saying?
We're doing our level best in a very...
What does that mean?
Cummings describing children separated from parents, lacking bathroom facilities, and unable to shower.
Come on. We're better than that.
Kevin McAleenan says conditions are improving.
We are taking care of these children thanks to the resources we finally have. They're moving very quickly through our facilities to Health and Human Services to a better situation. And I'd be happy to show you that at the border, Mr. Chairman.
I'm looking forward to it.
To get a sense of the challenge facing agents, 300,000 children have entered their custody in the past 9.5 months.
Capitol Hill correspondent Wally Hines reporting. The price of oil is up as tensions escalate in the Persian Gulf region, where a fifth of the world's crude is shipped through. Energy prices are on the rise a day after President Trump said a U.S. warship was downed an Iranian drone, rather. Iran denies that the drone was struck and says all of its unmanned aircraft in the region returned to base safely. The president says he will nominate lawyer Eugene Scalia to be his new labor secretary. Scalia is the son of the late Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. On Wall Street, the Dow had 77 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Never Forgotten Apparel is more than just a premium women's and men's clothing line. It's a movement to remind us to wear American-made and serve those who serve us. Our heroes. Never Forgotten Apparel gives 20% of their total sales to nonprofits that support homeless veterans and off-duty firefighters, and 50% to individual veterans and firefighters in need nationwide. Check out neverforgottenapparel.com. Use promo code MATT, M-A-T-T, and get 15% off your purchase.
Why have thousands of aspiring authors teamed up with Christian Faith Publishing to publish their book? Because Christian Faith Publishing is an author-friendly publisher who understands that your labor is more than just a book. We provide authors freedom and flexibility throughout the publishing process, professional book editing, award-winning design, and some of the highest royalty structures in the publishing industry. And as always, you will retain 100% of the rights to your book.
I was looking to find a company that I could trust, one that assisted in the editing process completely.
The most important qualities that I was looking for was a publisher who was honest and upfront, no hidden costs or fees, and owning the rights to my own work.
Christian Faith Publishing will publish, market, and sell your books in all major bookstores, online booksellers, as well as specialty Christian bookstores. Call for your free author submission kit.
800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. That's 800-978-4812. Dr. Ken Brown here, host of Gut Check Project with my co-host Eric Rieger. I've seen in my practice that Atrantil is a whole lot more than just a bloating product.
Yes, it does a whole lot more than just fix bloating because of the polyphenols that you find in Atrantil.
What are some of the things that these polyphenols do, Eric?
These polyphenols can help you have more energy, and polyphenols are great for athletes.
It sounds like it's going to help a whole lot more people than just bloating. Go to lovemytummy.com/Spoony.
And welcome back. Yes, Chef Patrick Mosher. I know my name. Maybe you don't. Man, it's Friday. I'm just glad I don't care if it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's the end of the week, right? So, you just heard Dr. Brown talk about polyphenols and Atrantil. You don't need to worry about how to spell that or really what it is. Basically, it's a bunch of stuff that's really healthy for the gut. These plant extracts, plant derivatives, basically restore, rejuvenate, and then maintain the environment you need for a healthy gut. So it's kind of like prebiotics and probiotics all in once, right? Does the repairs, kind of maintains the system, and if you really want something to go along with this, you can go to the lovemytummy.com website, buy Atrantil, and then you can go to I guess you can't buy it on our website, but you can go to KBMD, that's Kenneth Brown, MDHealth.com. That's Kenneth Brown and Eric Rieger. They do Dr. Kenneth Brown, sorry. They do the Gut Health Project here on Thursdays, and check them out. I'll tell you what, this has made a huge difference in just the way I feel, my overall gut health. When I say that, look, chefs don't always eat very well, and we don't always eat very consistently, and we don't eat very we eat our food in what would be a rushed manner a lot of times. So whether maybe you just have a sensitivity, maybe you have it's been shown to help with people that have intolerances of all sorts of items, and it's I'm telling you that with CBDs, the repair this does, the ability for CBDs to help with inflammation, it's a pairing you can't really go without, especially if you have any sort of stomach issues. They're now finding out that gut health is I'm going to give a statement here in a minute that proves to me it is. It probably is, and is becoming evident that it is the most important area to concentrate on when it comes to overall health. So serotonin, that mood leveler, 80 to 90% of all the serotonin in your body is produced in the gut. Right, that's the thing that keeps the neurons firing between the synapses in the brain. Right, I could go into all that stuff. It's also serotonin is one of the only things that passes the blood-brain barrier. So it's crazy how important that is to your body. And CBD, your body makes CBD, cannabidiol. All right, it's a necessary molecule for your body to survive. I'm not saying that you need a supplement necessarily, but there's an interesting study that came out from Stanford University that they believe there's very nearly conclusive study. I think they're doing another 5-year study that they think a chronic cannabinoid deficiency is the number one cause for Alzheimer's. And it's very interesting. I could go into the whole hemp, medical marijuana, blah, blah, blah thing, but I'm not going to. Anyway, go to lovemytummy.com, put it and go use /Spoony, /Spoony, and I think you get a 10% discount on it. It's pretty inexpensive. I think for $99, you can get 3 months supply. It is definitely worth it. You can take up to 6 tablets daily. Take it with food. Trust me, you'll thank me if you do. And go for it. Anyway, Shauna, my niece Shauna, you have Crohn's. You need to try this. I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying it fixes anything. Shauna, you need to try this. I love you. All right. Jamie Oliver. Jamie Oliver, if you've ever seen him, he is a very interesting chef in the way that he cooks pretty much across the board, any style of cuisine. He takes the influences of all those cultures that have, become this kind of amalgam of what makes British society. And he kind of takes little bits and pieces and dots his cuisine with the flavors of those countries or those cultures, much like you would pats of butter when you get ready to bake like shepherd's pie, right under the crust. Anyway, it's just amazing the way that he seasons his food, and his food is seasonal, fresh, and even if it's hearty, it's clean. He actually, and I think this is really important. I'm fairly fiscally conservative, I but I have a big heart. So when it comes to like school lunch programs and what is it? I forgot this Title 8 school, whatever the schools are, they get all free lunches, right? And they have summertime programs. And New York City now, any student that walks in the summertime get a free lunch and free breakfast, whatever. That's fine. But nutritionally, the food is it's really not very sound. My snack bar in junior high school, I got 2 pieces of pizza. What'd I get? 2 pieces of pizza, 2 chocolate milks, and typically a Suzy Q for dessert. Yes, that was my typical lunch. Sorry, Mom. Good thing you're not here. Listen. But anyway, so what he did is he did a great job of revamping it was called the Feed Me Better campaign, aimed at introducing better food for school children. It's pretty amazing what they did there. So I believe one of his cookbooks was Jamie Oliver's cookbook. It was the #1 UK bestseller in 2003. The #1 seller of all books in the UK in 2003. And then he's just gone on from there. He's opened and closed a lot of restaurants, but he's pretty amazing. I'll tell you, I really appreciate the guy. But I can't believe they overlooked Nobu, because Nobu's worth like $200 million, I think. And that's a lot of scratch. All right. So, Richard, you're welcome. I finished that list in very long fashion instead of short fashion, but let's go back to some comments real quick. Let's see here. Our honeysuckle's in full sun. Yeah, that's Doug Gamir. It's actually Pat. Yes, so it's full sun. In the afternoons, though, when it cooled down, so when the sun went down to the west, those buildings kind of the back of the building faced the northeast, so they got a little bit of extra shade early. And I'll tell you what, those plants were big and robust, and honeysuckle is just a very unique flavor. I wish there was a way to harvest enough of the nectar to incorporate that flavor fully into certain foods. You can chop, it doesn't taste very good. A lot of flowers are edible. You can chop them up, but that's one you can chop up. It's not very good. Guto, my friend Gutenberg Amaral. He lives in Brazil, man. He was our church choir music director. He's amazing man, amazing voice, gentle soul. What a character, man. Biggest smile I've ever seen. Guto, I can't believe you're listening. Awesome. And let's see what else we got here. No, already replied to that one and that one and that one. Wow, not enough things going on today, folks. Yes, Richard. So I finished the list. Okay, all right, good enough. Let's move on. So, as you know, Fridays I'm usually kind of light on the topics. I just kind of talk about this, that, and the other. But 2 things I want to go over. One is, I'm going to keep it light. And if I have time, I'll go over the top 10. It's okay. Let's keep it light. We'll save the business for Monday. Basically, it's 10 tips to have open a successful restaurant. Now, these tips apply to other businesses. It's not just restaurants. So, I'll explain that as we go through. But it's an article. I didn't write that one. I've written previous articles on it, and I'll be honest, I didn't want to scroll through my LinkedIn stuff forever and find it. And my external hard drive took a crap on me. So, if you're a tech guru and you'd like to check my external hard drive for free, let me know, because you will then be the winner of the ice cream challenge for what is your favorite readily available store-bought ice cream. So far, there's a toss-up. There's a couple of people that threw my favorite, Tillamook, out there. There are some a little more specialized, harder to find ones. I said ice cream, so gelatos don't count, folks. I'm sorry. That's not just gelato. Someone else threw out another. Oh, all right. I'll put them all in the mix. I'm already getting texts. I'll put them all in the mix. I'm sorry. I'll put them all in the mix. Okay? But technically, it's not ice cream. It's gelato. You know why it's not the same? It has a lower fat content in the milk, right, that's used in the dairy, and it's the way that it's frozen, but it's really the fat content. how interesting is that the creamy, rich flavor, that mouthfeel you get from, it's almost cloying. It coats the inside of your mouth, that you get from gelato, comes from a product, a dairy product, the base product that's lower, overall lower, I mean, by significant, like 4 or 5%, 3 or 4% at least, lower in milk fat. I always find that astounding, but it's the process, right? So, so I have mixed feelings about these products because some are really good and some are really bad. And, veganism is coming about. It's vegans and vegetarians are becoming less of a fad and more of a permanent lifestyle. And that's great. When I first moved to San Diego back in 1999, 1998, somewhere in there, I worked at a place called the Vegetarian Zone. It was a vegan restaurant, although it was vegetarian because we did use eggs and dairy in some of the dishes. But back at that time, there were only a few plant-based proteins that you could use. And interestingly enough, I'll have to put those on to read this article, but interestingly enough, the number one plant-based protein was actually a product called seitan. It's SEI, not Satan, which, if you're a true carnivore, you might say vegans, that dang, veggie-based protein that's Satan's work, but seitan, it's SEITAN. Look it up. It's made kind of like fresh mozzarella. So it's basically water and pure gluten powder, and you knead that like a dough, right? Because that's what gives bread its structure. This is why it's hard to find good or exceptional gluten-free bread, because gluten is the protein strands that provide that structure in bread. See, when you have a high protein wheat, it's called a hard flour, right? If you have that, a bread flour that's really hard, has a high protein content, that's the gluten. So what you do when you knead that, as you knead that, those protein strands get longer and longer, and then that creates the structure, which typically when you start to bake bread, you inject steam into the oven just at first so you don't form a crust right away, because that crust stops the baking process. It stops the bread from expanding, right, rising, and then baking to its full height capacity, so to speak. And if that happens, then that's where you get those fissures, those cracks in the bread. So if you've made biscotti, for instance, a lot of times you get cracks in it, especially I made some from spent beer grain. So the grains that were used to brew beers at that we were doing test batches for I can't tell you the name of the company, but I was working with a bunch of people in California. It's basically functional beverages that are disguised as beer. And I took the spent grains and I made biscotti out of those. As a matter of fact, if you go to the Food Biz Pro Instagram page, I'll post them right after the show or at the bottom of the hour at the break. And check it out, like it, follow me, it'd be great. Thank you. And also follow Spoony Radio while you're on there. And I don't want to post down on both, so I'll do it through mine and go over there, like it, and then look at the post on Spoony Radio as well. But that's Food Biz Pro or Patrick Mosher. So that's how you get that structure in there, right, is the gluten. But that was the number one protein supplement. And the way you did that is you boiled this ball of gluten. Basically, it was a dough. And after you get done boiling it and it cooked all the way through, you'd make like it's like a 6-inch like ball sphere. And when it was done, you let it cool fully. And then you could cut it into basically slices, thick slices, 3/4 inch or so thick. And then you took those and it shredded like chicken. So if you started to cut it, just start a cut at one end and then peeled it, it was like peeling apart the protein strands in a chicken breast. It peels apart at that same width all the way down, or that same thickness all the way down the length of this seitan ball. Not Satan, it's seitan, right? So that was the number one protein supplement. This place was called the Vegetarian Zone for a reason. It was formerly called Kung Foods. That's how I was a chef in San Diego. It was Kung Foods. Kung Foods was the restaurant with an attached health food store or kind of alternative lifestyle store. What was a hippie store, right? But they had essential oils. They had they sold, not herb, but herbs. They sold all sorts of natural products. They had very eclectic music and things like that. And then they had the restaurant as well. And it was called Kung Foods. They joined up with Dr. Sears, who in the late 70s, I think, started the Zone diet. And the Zone diet was really the first time that it was a higher protein, lower carbohydrate diet. So what you did is you had a basic meal with a protein supplement. And if you were a vegan, really the only thing that could give you the adequate amount of protein without eating 14 bowls of soybeans, known as edamame in Japanese restaurants, then there was no other way to go. And not everybody liked tofu, and you couldn't eat enough tofu really to get that much protein. Seitan. So it was raw. It was plain 100% gluten, cooked gluten. And what's interesting is back then, I never, ever, I had one man go to anaphylactic shock because he ate, it's called cashew cornbread, and he had an allergy to nuts. And he wondered why I had an allergic reaction. I said, well, because it's cashew cornbread. So we made cashew milk. Basically pureed. You soak the cashews overnight, puree it, strain it out, and then that liquid is what's used as you can buy cashew milk or almond milk. It's the same process. Anyway, I never saw anyone get sick from gluten. No one had. I don't know any vegans that had, even strict vegans that had dietary, they had bowel issues or gut problems. Never. Right? Of course, it was all organic what we used there as well. So that was the difference. But people are moving away from gluten. A lot of people have what they consider to be sensitivity, which I really think is the pesticides on the wheat that we kill. It's basically a commercial version of Roundup. And I'm not against any big company. I'm sorry that I mentioned actually a brand name now that I said it. But the chemicals in that are what we use to kill the wheat prematurely. So it's no longer winter wheat. Wheat, you only typically get one harvest a year, right? But here we try to get two. Sometimes, I don't think you can stretch it to 3, but you get one harvest a year. So the way that we do that now is, although it doesn't matter if they're GMO or not GMO, folks, genetic modification mostly means crossbreeding of plants, right? So I can't think of a single strain of plant out there that's been so isolated from the rest of the world and the rest of its native growing region that there's no way that it could ever not cross-pollinate with another plant that would have given some sort of genetic variation that gave us what we have today. So everything we eat is genetically modified to some extent. But that aside, there's all these other products that are coming out, right? So they have the Beyond Burger, there's or Impossible Burger, Beyond Meat, so on and so forth. And White Castle, I think, was the first one to come up and put the I think they did the Impossible Burger, right? I think it's Beyond Meat. I don't remember. They big yawn, it's Friday. Woo, yay. They're the first one to put it on their menu. It was a plant-based burger. It was actually a slider. And, it was a big deal. The first time a chain restaurant, fast food restaurant, put a menu item, a permanent menu item on its menu that was basically vegan other than the bun, which you could get it without. So, interestingly enough, though, I'm reading this study, and who do you think are eating all these meatless fast food burgers? Any guesses? Not vegans. They're the vegans, and we'll talk about the marketing of this after that because it's brilliant, actually. The vegans don't typically eat fast food anyway, so you were not marketing to that crowd. But vegans are not eating these burgers. Overall, up to or possibly, it's 95% or over, are being consumed by what they call flexitarians. Flexitarians are people that, they don't really want to go vegan, but they'd like to reduce their meat intake in their diet, right? They're very flexible with their diet. They don't condemn any single particular style of eating, although it's kind of an, everything in moderation approach, and then eat the more restrictive foods as well, in a kind of sparse, interspersed throughout their daily menu as the need be. So, and typically, again, they're trying to reduce the meat consumption, but not rule it out entirely. So, and what this means is these people that are the number one consumers of these vegan burgers, these vegetarian burgers, plant-based meats, are they have within the last 12 months of purchasing a plant-based burger or fast food item, that was plant-based. They've also eaten a meat-based, a meat protein burger. So there are so many. It's become so popular now. These these vegan or vegetarian, plant-based proteins, right? I just want to say vegan burgers, but you can't say that. So, well, you can. I just don't think that's what you're supposed to say. They have taken plant-based protein, that's gluten-free. Well, that's not true. A lot of these aren't gluten-free, by the way. They have gluten in them because that's the highest protein, I believe, highest protein form you can get from a plant on a large scale, grow when it costs cultivatable, scale. I don't think there's any other way to do it. So, anyway, 95% of these burgers, these fast food proteins are being consumed by people that are primarily, right, not strictly plant-based eaters. And it's gotten so popular that now you have they have the Impossible Whopper, White Castle's Impossible Slider, you have the Beyond Burger stuff. This is obviously sponsored by Impossible Burger, but one of my favorite, probably my favorite, one of the only fast food chains I go to is Chick-fil-A. They now have a plant-based chicken, like chicken sandwich. They're not stupid. They got on the game. And a lot of other companies are following. So I believe that McDonald's is going to put that on their menu as well. So, but this is a new report from the market research firm NPD Group finds that 95% of plant-based burger buyers have also purchased a beef burger within the last year. It's not the committed vegetarians or vegans who are buying meatless burgers, but it's just people are trying to reduce meat in their diet. I mean, it's fascinating to me. It's been such a cause for such a long time, vegetarianism, that it was almost you were kind of shamed, right? People are like, body shame, you body shamed me, or you hair shamed me, or whatever attitude. We do that. We tease people, but they would diet shame you, basically based on what you consumed. You were condemned for that, right? And I'm not saying that's good, but I'm just saying that's how it was. Now, it's such a commonplace thing, though, to hear vegan this, vegetarian that, animal free this, that, or the other. That it's mainstream. Non-dairy milks, right, or alternative milks. It's absolutely brilliant. I think that they came up with a product. They saw that the true market, which invented or created the original demand for that product, was growing, but it was the influence of that small demographic, that little tiny group of vegans and vegetarians, the vegans especially, that influenced the whole of the U.S., the whole of our society enough. They were boisterous enough, and they were able to, make progress in getting those items onto the menu, that it's become mainstream. It's phenomenal. I don't know. Absolutely crazy. So we got about 2 minutes left. Let's see what we have. Here's one last statistic, right? So on average, for every 18 fast food beef burgers that a consumer bought over a 12-month period, they had 18 fast food burgers in a year. Ugh. All right, sorry. Back to the story. No judgment. They bought, for every 18 on average, they bought 2 meatless burgers. Man, we got a lot of makeup to do on that. I think, all right, so you vegans better join in and start, evening out the score and buy all vegetable-based, proteins, plant-based protein burgers. Oh, really quick, the best hot dog in America. Crazy. It's, it's a food cart in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's, come on, where is it? Is it no, not House of Dogs. Oh, Vic the Chili Man. He came in first. Yo-Yo's came in number 2. Oh, Yo-Yo's, they're in Houston. Woo! Go Yo-Yo's. And number 3 was International House of Dogs in Anchorage. But Vic the Chili Man, a one-man operation, a freaking hot dog cart, came in not just number 1, in Charlotte, but number 1 in the nation. It's a one-man show hot dog cart. It's popular amongst the locals for their unlimited toppings, designer taco sauce, and unique menu items like the Naco Dog, part nacho, part taco. That's cool. It's got to be better than that, what was that, something monkey baby? That stupid thing from that thing still freaks me out. Anyway, how cool is that? A one-man show is now the #1 hot dog on the planet. Way to go, Vic. All right, hey, we'll be right back. Chef Patrick Mosher, stay tuned, or you'll starve.
Follow Chef Patrick Mosher on Twitter @Food Biz Pro.
If you're trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-570-6630. 800-570-6630. That's 800-570-6630. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
All right. Cheryl, are you there? Nope. Cheryl, are you there? Hello, hello. Let's see. It shows that she's on. Let's see. Cheryl, you there? Hello, hello. All right, let me try again.
Hello, hello.
There she is. Hey. Yay. Oh, and she hung up. I'll get her back online. That was Cheryl Heiser from Mixed Metaphors. Dun-dun-dun. Cheryl? Finally got try back. There you go. That's easy. All right. So anyway, so I was Vic the Chili Man. I just sent him I just followed him on Facebook. Go check it out. It's Vic the Chili Man, CHILI Man. And he looks like quite a character. I just sent an invitation to him to I said, "Hello, Vic. What a story! Love to have you on the radio show. Call in to be fine. Let me know if you have it. Let me if you can make the time. That would be cool." #1 hot dog in the world. One man operation, makes his own hot dogs. How cool is that? Anyway, let's see if Cheryl's back on the line yet. No, not quite yet. Alrighty. I was looking. There's so much. I had so many great stories. I always think I'm not going to have enough content, and then one story I go off on my point. Not angry Patrick, but passionate Patrick about the food service industry comes out, and I don't waste. I spend 25 minutes on that one issue. So, is that Cheryl? Someone there she is. Okay. She's trying from her cell phone again. I don't think she realizes that. Oh, there she is. Let me answer real quick. Cheryl, are you there? Oh, let me see if it's on the other line. Cheryl, you there?
I'm here.
Okay, so
I'm here.
So
Can
here's
you
the
hear
deal.
me now?
Well, I have two phone lines here. One goes to one studio, one goes to the other, and for some reason one says it's been on for 7.5 hours waiting for calls, and the other's been on like an hour and a half. But it didn't. I didn't know which one was going to match up to your phone line. So now I have it. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one off the air and close off air. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Yay! I got it right. Hey, I'm not allowed to touch technology nor bring liquids near electronics. Really. I think my new nickname.
My kind of friend.
Oh my God! Well, you know what? I've been clumsy since I was a kid, and I think it all started when I was young. I was really skinny when I was little. I had rheumatic fever, and there was just a lot of. I just had virus after virus after virus. I was about 10. I became. Before that, probably 7 or 8, 9 maybe. But I was super. My legs were so skinny. And I was knock-kneed, right? So I don't mean knock-kneed like my knees turned in. I mean, my knees were so knobby they were bigger than my thighs were. So when I ran, my knees would knock together and they'd bruise and my legs would get tangled up and I'd fall. It was hilarious. It was the funniest thing ever. Well, it's not like I was...
It wasn't funny at the time.
It was kind of funny. I mean, look, I was a sociable kid and kind of goofy looking. It didn't matter. It was okay. People... I made friends fast wherever I went, so it was okay. And but anyway, so as I grew up and that changed, I just I've been clumsy my entire life, though, especially with liquids. There's something about liquids and electronics. It's like there's some magnetism that just like if you're watching The Matrix, like the beer would flow out of the can and then come down in it's like that's my life. I see everything in slow motion too, and I can't do anything about it. Because I'm in ultra slow motion when it comes to spilling things. So
you're not in the same studio mixing and drinking and talking. That could be disaster.
Well,
you have to trust me on these.
I trust you on that one. Trust me. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to move my beer off to the side so don't ruin anything today. How you been? It's been a week.
I've been good. It's been a hot week here. I don't know if the news is reaching you guys. I know it's pretty darn hot in Texas, but it's going to be feeling like 115 by the end of today.
Whoa.
So
that's hotter than Hades right there. That's too warm for me.
Yep. I haven't ventured out. I'm doing some cooking. Oh, which before we leave, I got to talk to you about something. I'm having some problem on the cooking front.
Okay.
I ventured out to pick some herbs from the garden, and then I ran back in because it was too hot even to stand out there for a second.
Oh, I get it. And you're right near the water, too. That doesn't help.
We're not far. So if it's bad here, I can't imagine what it's like sort of in the west.
Yeah, you get a little breeze there. Your phone's breaking up just a little bit. There you go. There you go. I don't get outside much, so it's a 90, 91. I don't know, somewhere in there. It's warm. I to be honest with you, I have no clue what the temperature is. I'm going to look because I'm 94. It is 94. Feels like 102. Humidity 100 is 4.
Why do they tell us that feels like thing? I don't think that makes us feel any better.
I know. It's like, could you just leave that off, please? Hey, look, if there's a heat advisory because of the humidity, just tell me that. I don't need to know. It's like the wind chill factor. It's 29 degrees with a wind chill factor of -40. Okay, just say it's really windy, dress warm. But
that's all the info you need, right? Just wrap it up, bundle up. That's
being
what you know.
Being in upstate New York for those really cold winters as a kid, I remember, we had the onesie snowsuits. I remember going to school bundled up in that thing, and you always had the mittens, or if you're rich, you had gloves. We had mittens, right? So you had mittens, though, wool mittens that had the string that attached them to yarn, right? So you put one on one hand, and then you had
You didn't want the kids losing them all the time.
Oh my gosh! Well, and getting dressed was such a look. Your parents dressing you up to go to school was fine, and then you had to get dressed to get back on the bus to go home. And I think that they always ended up down in the bottom of my snowsuit, in my left leg for some reason.
Do you realize there are some people who have never had a snowsuit? If you grew up in Texas, right, you never had the pleasure of putting one of those on, either as a kid or as a mom. It's awful trying to smush your kids into those arms and legs, and they stand like a starfish because they can't put anything together anymore.
Can I tell you the funniest story ever? I can't tell you who this happened to.
What?
So, someone I know, it's this is not a. It's just it's a distant relative of mine was skiing, right? And they were skiing there. They came across like a flat area, and they went off into the woods a little bit, like 50 feet in or whatever, off on this little trail. And she had to pee, And so she unzipped her snowsuit, squatted down. She started going down. So the skis are dragging her through the snow. She peed in the hood of her snowsuit.
She's skiing and peeing at the same time?
No, she squatted, but she didn't take her skis off. And so, but as she squatted down, the skis were pointed downhill, and so she started going again.
Oh, no.
I wasn't there to witness it, but I know that it's been verified many times, and that family member will just leave the room when the story starts. Oh, come on. That's not as good as Doc's sister taking her glass eye out at parties and saying, here, you didn't believe it was real? But, oh, my gosh, snowsuits were like, they were a lifesaver and it's such an inconvenience.
You betcha. But it's a rite of passage when you live here. For people who miss that, come up to Chicago in January or February.
Galoshes.
Try putting one of those one-piece galoshes are nothing. It's galoshes on top of the socks, on top of the long underwear, on top of the boots, on top of the mittens, on top of the hat, on top of the scarf.
Oh, I know. You felt like the Michelin Man when you walked out the door, but you couldn't bend your arms. You know, it's more like the Stave Puft Marshmallow Man walking through Manhattan. Oh, my gosh. That's so funny.
I'm glad we're joking about this when it's 115 feel like, right?
Hey.
So we can make jokes. When in the middle of the winter, we're going to be remembering this day and saying that we missed.
Exactly. And thinking about, I wish it was 115. Oh, hey, how's the grandbaby, by
I'm
the way?
never going to do that.
How's the grandbaby?
Grandbaby's great.
Good.
Thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
It's hot. It's hot in Kansas too. They're up. They think they've got real feel of 107, 108 every day this week. So they got to keep them cool, but they can't keep them cool with my drinks. That's the problem.
Well, hey, before we get into that, real quick, because I always wait till the very end. So Cheryl Heisler is our resident mixologist, bartender, whatever terminology you want to use, but she's a badass when it comes to shaking that shaker and making you smile. So, Cheryl, give it a go. Tell them where to find you, what your service is, and tell them what Mixed Metaphors is all about.
So my business is Mixed Metaphors. I create signature cocktails by design for individuals, for parties. I'm the mixology consultant for a national theater troupe, or a Chicago theater troupe that's known nationally. So anytime you need a cocktail to fit your theme, your colors, your design, special someone as a gift recipe, those are all the things that I work on. And it's really fun. Your drink doesn't have to be like anybody else's. Makes for a wonderful party. It's always unique, and it's fun drinks. So thanks for having me on, and we get to create every week. To come
every
up with
week,
something new and exciting for the listeners.
I thought you were going to say when you need a unique
every
cocktail.
Every week we have that.
Yeah, well, and they can find the recipe on Spoony.com. I'm going to put these up on Instagram as well, just so you know. I'm going to start. I've actually started. I hired someone to do engagement for me, so I do the post, and they interweave that through the web. They do their interweb magic, right? And I don't worry about it.
So link to me at Mixed Metaphors, right? I'm on Instagram as well.
Mm-hmm. And so one of the cool things, so I thought you were going to say, and if you need a custom drink or a custom cocktail, I'd say just swing on by and I'll make you one. Well, you're a good host. You're a very good host.
It's 115 degrees. I'm not going anywhere if you're in the neighborhood. But so that's what I wanted to talk to you about. I'm making a French dinner for Friday night. We've got some friends that are going to go traveling to France next week. I've got French Bordeaux wines. I've got mushroom duxelle and some sole. It's going to be beautiful. But I tried this new dessert. I can't even pronounce it. It's got to be French because I can't pronounce the word. And it required fresh cherries. But I didn't have a cherry pitter. Do you know my kitchen looks like a murder scene right now? I got cherry juice everywhere.
Not to mention your fingers are stained red, right? And half the flesh is still on the pit of the cherries.
Yeah, I guess a grapefruit spoon wasn't the right utensil to try in absence of cherry pitter.
No, they don't work very well. But
yeah, so the drinks will be good. I can't vouch for dessert. To my friends are listening. We'll drink more and eat less.
Okay, so is it clafoutis? CLA?
Yes. How did you know?
Because that is a. You know what? Because I'm a badass in the kitchen. Actually, I was just thinking.
You read my cherry stained fingers.
And if you're watching, I've been sitting here. I didn't touch the computer. My hands are under my almost into my armpits, underneath the opposite arms, folded, and I'm leaning forward towards the microphone. And I was thinking, okay, fresh cherries, this time of year. It's a very classic French. It's baked like baked like an upside down cake. Basically, you turn it out, and it's a beautiful dessert. By the way, it's one of my favorites, and you can't go wrong.
Good, because my kitchen.
You can't.
I can't screw it up.
You can't, as long as you have some sort of cherries in there that were fresh. It doesn't matter because it'll turn out fine.
Okay.
Yep, it's awesome. It's
And you know what else? The recipe I have says to add a little bit of cherry brandy, and I have some terrific Portuguese cherry brandy.
Ooh.
I think it'll be yummy, but I got to do now a whole mess of cleaning. So,
Hey, what's
clafoutis, is that how you pronounce it?
Clafoutis? Yes, it's Clafoutis.
Yeah.
Clafoutis. I feel like I'm in the National Spelling Bee right now. Ding,
Use
ding,
it in a
ding.
sentence. Cheryl's kitchen got blood-stained when she made the clafoutis.
You know what? What's cool is that the National Spelling Bee, there were 87 words that were culinary terms this year. 87 out of the words.
How do you know this?
Because I read, it was the day after the Spelling Bee, there was an article about it. Somebody brought to my attention. How cool is that?
Wow, that's great.
7 times.
I wonder if there's a spelling bee for mixologists. The bartending bee.
No, but you know what? There is a test at the end, and it's basically a after you've been tasting and drinking all night. It's speakology, right? So you have to say a really twisted tongue twister. I used to say that Scottish people.
Seashells.
Hello, Ossifer. I haven't been drinking. My poor mother. Oh, gosh. Okay, I get one more story. I have no more stories after this at all. I swear. It's the last story I'll ever tell, Cheryl. My mother had a...
I'm not buying that.
I know. She had several health issues over the years, and one of the things, she took a lot of cortisone and prednisone. It kind of degenerative disease attacked the connective tissues in the joints, right? So she had knee replacements.
Ouch.
And one of them she had twice because they did it wrong the first way. I mean, they did it the first time they did it wrong. My poor mother was just a victim of circumstance many times. But so she had like a Camaro in the 80s, late 80s, and she just had her first knee replacement. So my mom didn't drink, and the police pulled her over, and she gets out of the car, and it's low, right? And so my mother had not had the replacement very long before that. She gets out of the car, she stumbles to her knee, and looks up and goes, "Hello, Ossifer," and he's like, "Ma'am, are you okay?" And she's like, "Would you help me up, please?" Poor woman, she was the sweetest thing. But
they didn't take her in, did they? Please tell me.
No, but now you know why they call me Grace. I definitely had her talent and her graceful. Abilities to wisp around the room and never stain the front of my shirt. Oh my gosh.
You could probably even make a clafoutis then without getting red cherry juice everywhere.
Maybe. If you pick the cherries for me.
Well, I'm going, when I venture out of the house, when the temperature comes down, I think I'm going to go buy myself a cherry pitter before I ever try this one again.
That's funny.
But I don't make a mess when I don't spill a drop when I mix.
All right, so look.
Doesn't that tell you something?
You know what? Because that would be alcohol abuse. It really would. I was in Matt's studio over at the Mojo 50 today, doing our beer for brunch Friday, and I actually bumped my can and spilt a little bit, like 4 drops, and he was like, I'm like, no, dude, I didn't run any electronics. It's okay. Just be glad it was 4 drops. I don't have my sippy cup. So, on
that would be a great. That's a product. A sippy cup for alcoholic
adults. It's called a Yeti. It's called a Yeti. All right. All jokes aside, we have you here every week for our segment. So, I just have to ask you, what are we drinking this weekend, Cheryl?
This weekend we are drinking a riff off of a pina colada, and I'm calling it a pinka colada because we're using traditional pina colada recipe ingredients: an ounce of light rum, 2 ounces of coconut milk, 3 ounces of pineapple juice, preferably fresh squeezed if you've got it. But we're going to add a half an ounce of creme de cassis. So the gorgeous colors of the pina colada now get a little bit of red, creamy wine color running through it. And what it does is take the edge off of the bright colors, but it makes it super sippable. It's beautiful to look at. It goes down really easy. And when it's hot, and I think we should probably talk about this, you want something that's going to be refreshing like that, but also that's going to be a little bit lighter on the alcohol. So sometimes I think people make their pina coladas much stronger. When it's as hot as it is, folks, lighten up on the alcohol. Give yourself a smaller pour.
We're not friends anymore.
I know.
I'm joking. Actually, that's a very
I'm looking after your long-term best interest.
It's very important that you do that because you dehydrate faster with the consumption of alcohol, and just the effects are, they're compounded by the heat.
So what I thought we'd talk about, besides this pina colada, which is yummy and delicious, is how do you go out to a party and still have a great time in the summer without making yourself sick? And it's, believe it or not, it's not as easy as it sounds. You might be used to having 2-3 drinks, no problem. But when it's super hot, as you say, you're more dehydrated. You've got to go the extra mile. So you need to have, I would prefer that somebody get a tall drink that's got more ice, more mixers, and maybe a little bit less alcohol than they're used to. If you really don't want to do that, if you like your drinks a certain way, slow it down and have one traditional drink and then a big 8-ounce or 12-ounce glass of water. And there are always people who are reminding you to be careful not to drink and drive, to hydrate. But you got to really be aware when the temperatures are creeping up in the hundreds like they are here and there, even places that aren't used to getting hot in the summer, you got to drink even more responsibly, even if you're not driving, because it's amazing how quickly the body can dry out. And you don't want just alcohol coursing through your veins. It's really not a funny situation.
No,
I was out with a girlfriend this week. We split a glass of wine, right? And I think you know enough about me to know that I can handle my liquor. We both looked at each other and said, wow, why? It was lunchtime and we hadn't had more than a cup of coffee in the morning. We were both feeling a little bit woozy. And, we laughed about it, but then we hit the water bottles pretty hard. And it just reminded me, as a public service, it's something we should at least bring up to our listeners.
Absolutely. I think that's so if I think back of all those times I've been more tipsy than I expected to be, or than I thought I would ever get, it's those warm summer days, because you start drinking beer or wine or whatever concoction you come up with for the day, like you would drink a hydrating beverage that's non-intoxicating. And so I think it's really important. I always say that, look, Matt Locke, I know you have a show for you, built in one with your wife, but it's his birthday. He turns 45 on Sunday. But yeah, it's
happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Matt. We used to float the river in Arizona, the Lower Salt River, and it was awful, because as late teenagers, early 20s, we would take alcohol, and it just didn't do your body good. It's not like milk. Alcohol, just in that under those conditions. Yeah, I used to do 2-to-1, two bottles of water for every portion of alcohol I had. I know I was
That's really smart.
Well, I was the party mom, the key master, whatever you want to call that person that holds all the keys and help people get home.
Well, it's not. You might be enjoying yourself during the first or the second one, but by the third, if you've got just alcohol and nothing else to water it down and not much else to drink, it's not going to be fun. You don't want to be in that situation. And I know it sounds like I'm a mother when I say that.
That's okay.
But I want people to enjoy these cocktails, and you can. That's the thing. I actually made one of these after I had done the recipe and tasted it. I made one a virgin version. It was delicious. And you almost didn't miss the rum because the coconut milk is so hydrating. The pineapple is, really refreshing. I did throw a little bit of the creme de cassis in. I guess it wasn't totally non-alcoholic. But even without the rum, it's a great drink, and it's refreshing. It revives you.
Can I tell you how happy how happy I am that you chose my favorite liqueur? I love creme de cassis. Yeah, like Cassis soda was my go-to drink as an aperitif in Germany. They would all have Campari soda or something like that. I like Cassis soda. Campari's a little bit too, just that kind of burnt orange flavor doesn't do it for me.
Right.
Which is why I don't
really
like,
bitter. I mean, it's great in a Negroni, but
see, I don't like Negroni either. I mean, I like it. I don't want a full portion of it, right? And that's not too cloyingly sweet, and it's got that elderberry kind of flavor to it, right? It's unique. So
it's good. I think it's like a blackberry and a little bit of the. It's not too sweet, like it makes you sick, and it's not as bitter as some of these others. I will tell you about Negroni. Do you ever want to drink that you can nurse, like you got to be at a business meeting and you want to order something that looks like a real drink? A Negroni is perfect because I don't know anybody who can drink those fast.
Well, and also it pairs well with certain foods, right? If you have a fatty, rich food, especially that would be a good drink to have with like a really rich seafood bouillabaisse or something. Now, it's not the perfect pairing because it's a little on the astringent side, like the bitter astringent side, but that water or maybe a glass of wine with it. But I mean, that would be something right after that meal or right before that meal that would be good, I think.
Oh, well, I think it definitely is an aperitif. There's the Let Us Entertain You restaurant chain.
Oh,
Rich Melman and all those guys?
Rich Melman's one of the biggest influencers. He's had a bigger impact than most people even could ever imagine. I mean, they don't just have the Let Us Entertain Group. They were the principal. They were the majority shareholders in like Chart House at one point. And when I worked there, actually, they just bought them. All sorts of restaurants across the country, other restaurant groups as well.
So the reason I brought them up is that they've got an Italian restaurant in Chicago that's delicious with burning pizzas and pastas, and they have a whole Negroni menu. So you can choose different combinations of drinks that look like a Negroni or they have Campari or a similar bitter. And I think it pairs great with some of the rich pastas and things. It cuts through that fat, just like you were talking about. So add that to the list of places we got to go next time you're in Chicago.
Absolutely.
This is getting crazy because then we got more places to eat than places to drink. How did that happen?
I don't know, but I like that. There are so many fantastic restaurants in Chicago, from the low end to the high end, and most places are that way. But man, people in Chicago are fanatic about their local establishments. They really are. I mean, every city has their phenom, their eclectic local fare. But holy crap, Chicago is like, you can't talk to anybody that doesn't tell you, you got to go to Patello's before you go, or everybody. And it's not just because they're iconic, it's because they're good and they're unique and they're like, where else do you find jardinera? Where do you get that? Oh my gosh. I slaughtered that word. I was so tired. I stayed up overnight cooking for the whole crew at the Blaze one night, and I did a whole bunch of. I did basically a huge mac and cheese bar, and I was on the 3 live shows over there in one day. And I couldn't say jardinera. I was like Jarda, and it's so funny.
But
this guy
boy, that sounds good on mac and cheese. I would love that.
That's good stuff. Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome. One of my favorite. Just that spicy pickled vegetable mix. Oh my gosh, I'm so hungry now.
Do you guys have a show called Check Please? I think it might just be a Chicago concoction.
I
where they have
don't think
three
so.
regular people come in and talk about a local restaurant that they love, explain it to the other two, and then everybody tries it. So at every show, they review 3 different restaurants. It's so much fun to watch because it's real people telling about their real neighborhood faves. And then they give you the information, how much to expect, what to order, what the pricing is going to run you. And it does wonders for some of these small businesses that might not otherwise get that full press from the rest of the city. So
that's awesome.
It's a great franchise idea. It's a good show.
So, there's another show. You may have been the one that brought it up to me. Someone did. It's the guy that he had a very, very popular show where they drank wine, right? And it was high end, low end. Nobody knew because he hid the bottles in paper bags. And he stopped his show, and there was such a public outcry that the show's back. I think it's on YouTube. I can't remember the show, but it's fantastic because and it's not to embarrass people, but some people are like, I get a hint of this and cinnamon, and it's got a little petroleum in it, and it's like an $8 bottle of wine from such and such vineyard. But and not that that's not, it doesn't have those notes, but it's interesting that we convince ourselves, right, of the quality of something when we see a label or a price, right? And it's not always the case.
I think I talked to you about that book called Cork Dork.
Oh yeah,
which was fascinating about the world of sommeliers and
wine snobs.
One time you taste a wine snobbery. One time they taste a wine and someone says it's undrinkable, and then it comes around for a second tasting and they award it first prize.
Of course.
It's just so dependent on your palate, your mood. That would be. I'm really impressed when people can go and get a sommelier degree or degrees.
Oh man. So I have to tell you,
that's a lot of work.
Like Master Chef is, I think the Master Chef, well, actually the Master Chef and Certified Master Pastry Chef, I think are the 2 hardest exams in the world. But if there's one that's close to that, that's right there, half a step, one inch behind, it's the Quarter Master Sommeliers exam, which is level 4 sommelier. And I'm telling you, these people, it's unbelievable. They're one of my. We have a minute and a half, real quick. My instructor in It doesn't matter. They sit in closets, they sniff bottles of jars of aromas. And I'm telling you, they can tell you not just the varietal, the country, the region. Sometimes they can tell you which vintner, the year, and the plot it came from. It's amazing. Anybody who ever achieves that, I'm so proud of you. Congratulations, because that's something. Cheryl, you got a minute left. What do you want to tell people to anything else you want to share?
Nah, just have fun, enjoy summer, but be smart out there and drink responsibly. How's that?
Okay, real quick.
That's your public service announcement for the day.
Okay, what is do you have a favorite food? Okay, go ahead.
I guess I'd say salties over sweets, so savory and stuff rather than desserts. But how about you?
Man, yes. Food. I like food. You know what? Actually, I love simple Japanese food. Really simple, seasonal, fresh. I love just plain, salted grilled fish. Man,
we need to do a lightning round thing.
Yes,
favorite food,
we do.
favorite wine, favorite spirit.
Yep.
But we got to think about it first. I don't really want to.
Oh no, it's more fun that way. Hey Cheryl, you have a great weekend, and thanks again as always. Great concoction. I have to try this weekend. You have a great weekend, and
enjoy it.
All right, God bless. We'll talk to you later. Hey, thanks folks. Take care. Chef Patrick Mosher. We'll see you soon. Ciao for now. Remember, be nice to yourself. PRG. Bye.
This is the only 24-hour Take Anywhere platform dedicated to food and fun. We're Spoony.